nostrils.
No, that is not Baron Trump.
Oh, right, okay.
All right. Let's go ahead and get started, shall we?
Okie dokie.
And I'm not doing any. No preview music, no nothing. We're just live with Jensen. Hello, everybody. I hope that you're all having a good day. Say hello to the
Hello,
folks,
everyone.
Jensen.
I could sing, but nobody wants me to do that.
Well, I mean, if you have a great singing voice, it would be nice, be appropriate to utilize it at this point.
I have been threatened with being murdered if I ever sing Happy Birthday ever again. So I'll give you a clue. No.
Okay. See, that's by the way, that's who I thought it was. It's Jared Kushner.
Ah,
All right,
okay.
in our first story of the day. But you haven't been around
No.
for a while, Jensen, or at least I haven't been able to talk to you for a while, which is not necessarily the same thing. I understand that because I've had all sorts of internet issues, and Discord has been
Hmm.
basically giving me the middle
Yeah.
finger repeatedly.
I like your polite way of putting that. Yes, that seems a valid statement.
I can't tell you how many times I've had to fight with 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 Discord to just even get anything with it. I mean, it's very disturbing.
Well, you know how there's the red, yellow, and green for saying how the communication's going. I get excited if I get to stay on yellow. Yeah,
I'm either
that's right.
green
Mm-hmm.
or red. I mean,
Yeah,
it's one or the
yeah.
other. It's never.
I get around 75% red, and if I'm lucky, 25% yellow.
Yeah.
And it might go green, yellow, red, red, red.
So
So I totally understand.
let's get to the first story, all right? Because
Yes, sir.
I'm just gonna bounce around here, and we'll start with this one. Talks between Russia, Ukraine, and the United States get underway in Abu Dhabi, in Dubai. Huh?
Hmm.
Trilateral talks on ending the Ukraine war between Russia, Ukraine, and the United States were due to get underway in Abu Dhabi, all right, on Friday evening. The first time all three countries have been at the same table since Russia's full scale invasion in 2022. The meeting follows 4 hours of late night talks between U.S. negotiators led by Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Vladimir Putin. All right, and that the Kremlin said had been a constructive, and very frank. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, who has dispatched a negotiating team to Abu Dhabi for the meeting, said he would said which he said would last 2 days, described the talks as a step towards hopefully ending the war. All right, what's your opinion of this?
First of all, why Putin doesn't just go with the "and what are you going to do about it" bitch? I'm surprised because that is literally how he's been. And yes, I do accept the fact that it's about bloody time that he stopped his policing action, or whatever excuse he's using today. But I'm surprised he hasn't literally just turned around to America and says, "What are you going to do?" Because all America, no, and I mean this with no insult to you, but all America has got left is basically start launching bombs. I mean, America has literally sanctioned the living hell out of Russia.
Hmm.
So what's left?
I agree. Well, what left would
Okay.
be Europe doing it.
Yeah, sorry, let me rephrase that. What's left that would make even the slightest difference? I apologise, I did not put that last part in.
Well, no, seriously, if Europe lived up to its commitments, it might make a huge difference.
That's true.
All right, but they have no intention of doing so. Let's be frank.
No, no, no. Again,
All
very, very true.
right, I mean that's where a lot of this has come about. Now, I think Vladimir Putin is not looking at this the same way as other people. And this is very true. Vladimir Putin looks at it from a Russian perspective strictly. Okay?
You mean he wants to blow someone up? Got ya.
Well, the Russians don't necessarily want to blow people up. They want to blow things up just to see what happens. But that's just, you can appreciate that to a degree, right?
I can,
Okay,
but
so
I just want I'm sorry to interrupt again. I know this is why you don't like, you don't necessarily want me on all the time because of my interruptions. But what is the difference between Russia and America apart from the fact that America's got even bigger things that go boom than Russia? Oh, and the fact that Russia appears to be in the 1950s and didn't actually go any further.
the fact that the Russians, all right, don't care about their own people.
Again, I repeat my last statement
We
and
care a
ask you
lot
to
more
take a look.
about our people, or we would have curb stomped freaking Minneapolis back in the Stone Age.
Oh, I still hope you do.
Pussy.
But all right, I'll accept that statement.
Okay.
No, you can have that one. All right,
Just,
that's fine by me.
at this point in time, with all the corruption and everything else that's going on in Minneapolis, all right, if this
Hmm.
was a Russian city that was doing that kind of stuff, Putin may have just thrown a nuke just to sit up there and solve the problem. Just think
I
about it.
believe
All
it.
the corruption, all the problems with the people, all the protesters, all the illegal aliens, and the Somalis who are at the center of everything. You're gonna tell me
You
Putin
call it.
might not be thinking about, one nuke takes care of a lot of problems here.
You call it throwing a nuke. I call it urban renewal. Okay.
You see my point, though.
No, no, your point is valid. I have to say.
I mean, it sounds a bit harsh, all right, and it is brutal, all right. I'm not going to
Filthy.
argue that point. Let's
Mm-hmm.
go over to this section because this is the one that you want to get into anyway.
Don't know what you're talking about. Mm-hmm.
Insulting our heroes. Sir Keir Starmer today branded Donald Trump insulting and frankly appalling as he led a chorus of fury over the U.S. president's vile slur against British soldiers who fought and died in Afghanistan. The Prime Minister said the American leader should apologize for the astonishing remarks belittling NATO's role in the conflict on television interview that worsened the deepest transatlantic rift in decades. Politicians and military veterans reacted with outrage after the president told Fox News that NATO troops, including those from Britain, stayed a little off the front lines during the Afghanistan war. Some 457 British service personnel were killed in the conflict in Afghanistan, fighting alongside the U.S., and countless more were severely wounded. His remarks come a week after a week in which the president clashed with NATO allies, including the UK, over their refusal to agree to his demand that Greenland be brought under U.S. control. Okay, Jensen, go for it.
Okay, this is your very last chance. Are you sure that you're okay with me going for it?
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine.
Okay, just want to make sure. Okie dokie. Shut up, bitch. If you want to prove yourself, how about you step up and do something? Oh, that's right. Pussy ass bitch ain't gonna do shit. Did you join the military? No. Do you have anything to do with the military until you joined the White House? No. So shut up, you little pussy. Second, I lost people there. Again, shut up, pussy. And third one, and I'm not saying this to him, I'm saying this to America as an overhaul, as an overall. Who was it who left all that stuff that the Afghanis took over? Oh, that's right. It wasn't England, was it? Hmm. Now, granted, America does have enough stuff that they could leave that behind, and it was probably more expensive to ship it back. I don't disagree. But I'm going to put it bluntly, hand grenades are not that expensive, and that would have dealt with all of the problem instantly. So, yeah, there's my opinion. He can shut the hell up.
Okay.
He has no idea what he's talking about.
Well, okay. Let's be perfectly frank about something. All right. There's a
Hmm.
huge difference between Afghanistan in Iraq. And
Yeah.
no, many of the people, especially the civilian world, conflate the two. Right? They
Hmm?
conflate the two conflicts. They think of
Yes.
them as equivalent, and they're not. Okay. The British troops did an outstanding job for the most part in Afghanistan. Our own troops did an outstanding job in Afghanistan. Were there
Hmm.
were there other NATO allies, however, that were supposedly part of that? That let's say were less than stellar. Okay.
Okay. No, I agree.
All right. Like the great, German contingent, the
Trust the
phenomenal,
French.
the phenomenal French contingent.
Hmm.
All right. The wonderful Dutch group that went in
Yeah.
there and did nothing, right? So yeah, it's not that he's right, right?
Mhm.
About especially about staying off of the front lines, especially in the first part of the war, right?
Mm.
When we were trying to topple the the Taliban regime,
Yeah.
okay? During that time frame, all right, the NATO allies were very much involved in it, and the British were very much involved in it. And yes, they lost troops. In the latter part of the war, for the most part, the troops that were being lost were with, let's be frank, IEDs.
Yes.
Okay, that's when you talk about a front lines. Then there are no front lines. Okay,
No.
so that becomes a different type of situation. But if you conflate
Yes.
that then with the actions of our supposed allies in Iraq, where let's be perfectly frank, what allies did we have in Iraq? Yes, we had
Us.
British troops. All right. Once
Hmm.
again, all right, there were no front line troops. All right. And
No.
what I mean by that was there's no front line to fight with. Okay.
Yeah.
After the first 2 weeks of the war, it was over.
Yes.
There were no front lines. Okay.
It went to a pure guerrilla war from there on. I agree.
Well, it was non-traditional war. I wouldn't call it a guerrilla war because it wasn't even that really. And I have a
Uh,
lot of, quite frankly, animosity. All right, toward the U.S. government's approach, and especially the U.S. military's approach from that point on.
hmm.
All right, most people don't know this. Okay, I still have carry a lot of grudges about some of that stuff. And I
Yeah.
realize it doesn't matter, but what really frosts me is the fact that you have a bunch of freaking dumbass State Department officials that they let try to run that thing.
Yeah.
And that was never a good idea because the State Department is a problem. It's a problem for the entire world for the most part. If somebody says, "Well, we're with the U.S. State Department," they will get a sideways look from me every
Hey,
time.
at least you're not loading your gun.
The main reason is because 90%, and I'm not exaggerating, of those freaking assholes that infest the State Department are outright communists
Yes.
who hate this country and have never freaking served. Now, granted, the only reason I say 90% and not 100% is because the State Department always goes around with a contingent of Marines to protect their fat asses.
Yeah.
All right. We got to keep these guys, and we got to make this deal with this warlord over here. No, we don't. We walk over to the warlord and say, this is what we're gonna do. Well, we will oppose it. No, you just cease to exist, and you wipe him out, and then you go to the next warlord.
Yeah. Yeah. Point
That's
at the
how you
country.
handle these people. Oh, that would be so oppressive. Oh, that would be so harmful. No, it's
No.
what was necessary, and you fools never understood it, and you can't even accept it today. Pardon me. So
Oh,
no,
my dude, I
Trump
understand.
should not have said. Look, Trump goes off script, all right, and says shit
Hmm.
without and like you said, all right, without
Hmm.
understanding the situation. Okay,
Yeah.
and he does need to sit up there and be a little bit more careful with that. But considering the shit that Keir Starmer has said to him in the past, right, and on the political stage and on the world stage, and let's be honest, he's right about this. Our lack of support and trying to actually take care of Greenland. Oh, we're going to work together with them. Yeah, what we're going to work together with them by everybody's going to be there. All right, it's going to be American with maybe 15 or 20 freaking quote unquote NATO troops. Is
Dude,
that what we're dealing with? All right, so
I
I understand Trump's frustration with it. I don't agree with what he said. I think what he said was ridiculous. Okay, I think Keir Starmer, however, is blowing this out of proportion as well.
yes, but then again, that's all he does.
So
the guy is incompetent.
So
polite word.
so to say that, look, I understand. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but the NATO is feckless.
Yes.
And Volodymyr Zelensky, I think, finally realized that the EU isn't what he thought it was. Isn't going to come to his aid, isn't going to help him out, and isn't going to sit up there and try and help the Ukrainian people in any way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
The EU never has. It only helps itself.
Yeah.
Now, that's not saying that there weren't contributions in Afghanistan or with other allies. But
Mm-hmm.
quite frankly, with allies like we had there, with the exception of the British when we first went in and so forth, the exception of the British in general, to be honest, we haven't had any allies.
No.
And
Now,
let's be perfectly frank, the one thing we need from you, we're not getting from the British. And that is, look, guys, rebuild your friggin' Navy.
Yes.
Okay? I don't care
It's
about
kind
your
of what
troops
we
on
were
the
known
ground. I don't care about your Air Force. Okay? But
No.
gosh damn it, you should have at least 3 carrier groups.
Yes.
The,
You get no complaints from me. By the way, one question. This paper that we're currently looking at here, have you noticed the ever so slight ups at the end of it?
What are you referring to?
In fact, literally read the... No, stop, don't... Right. Literally the very final line in the black there. Jibe at Britons, yeah? Read that out loud, please.
Where?
All of it. At the very top of the page, you've got the words Jibe at Britain's Afghan war dead. Yes, see that?
Yes.
Read that final line, all of it.
Insulting and frankly appalling, Keir Starmer demands...
No, just from Jibe onwards, please.
At Britain's Afghan war dead. Afghan war dead?
Yes. Is it me, or do you think they probably need to hire somebody to look over this stuff before they, put it out there?
I think that's just that somebody was doing a cut and paste job and didn't go over the final thing. but look how it's parsed.
Yeah.
Okay, because in reality, Trump wasn't actually saying that about the war dead. He wasn't even mentioning that. What he was trying to do was compare the serious lack of contribution from NATO, all right, as a whole, all right, to the United States. And let's be perfectly frank, there was a serious lack of support, all right, from our quote unquote NATO allies. If you compare the British manpower support, all right, compare that against what Germany sent. You sent what, 5,000 troops? I think it was
something like that. Yeah,
somewhere in that ballpark, right? The Germans sent less than 1,000, and yet population-wise, what's Germany's NATO? They should have been, especially from a ground troops perspective, they should have been far more involved, but they weren't, and they had no intention of being that
way. Oh no.
All right, and that becomes the issue. All right, especially when in Afghanistan, the U.S. plussed up. I think at one point we had 30,000 troops, but really we did not put in the troops in Afghanistan that we put into Iraq.
No.
Okay, and Trump, like a lot of Americans, thinks that there's some kind of equivalency there. There was never an equivalency there. We were
No.
doing something entirely different in Afghanistan than what we were doing in Iraq. Okay, and I'm not saying that we did Afghanistan perfectly, and I'm not saying that you weren't wrong in about leaving our equipment there. Okay, we should have left it there. All right, dusted with frickin' uranium. All right, if you really want to know the truth.
Oh, absolutely. I'm totally okay with that
All right.
statement. Mm-hmm.
My first statement after 9/11 was we should sit up there and make a deal with the Russians, make a deal with the Chinese for one nuke. All right, and I
Yeah.
would have nuked Kandahar. Absolutely nuked it.
Yes.
I wouldn't have asked questions. I'd have said, "Boom, it's gone." All right, now what? Here's the issue. Here's what you're going to do. I wouldn't have asked.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have sit up there and tried to sit up there and play a game, right? And if
No.
the rest of the world's and with the rest of the world, I'd have told them to go f themselves.
Yeah.
All right, and I would have done it for because that's what needs to happen. Okay, let me explain something to people. My philosophy of things as I see things in the future, and you can tell me where
Mm-hmm.
I'm wrong.
Oh,
Somewhere, all right, sooner or later, right, we are
Mm-hmm.
going to have to nuke 2 to 3 of the major cities in the Muslim world. We're going to have to do it.
Do I get to put a vote in as to where?
Right?
Just saying.
We're going to have to do it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason we're going to have to do it is because they are stuck in the 12th century mentality, and they have no intention of joining the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Okay, they are going to try to force the rest of the world back to a 12th century mentality. That is their intention. Okay, and to be honest, one of the places that probably needs a nuke more than any other one is Tehran. Now, Tehran would be a wonderful place. It would be a wonderful city if it wasn't for the mullahs. But guess what? It'd be one of the most effective places to throw the damn nuke.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just pointing this out. Now, I would not do what you want to do, Jensen, because I can guess where you want one. It starts with an M, doesn't it? And the second one starts with an M too, doesn't it?
You forgot the one that begins with a P. I was about to ask, how many nukes do I have access to?
I told you 3.
Okay.
We were limiting this to 3. So if I've already used one on Tehran, you only get 2 more.
That's okay. One in Paris. And
Paris is not a Muslim. Well,
I'm sorry. Yeah, do you really want to actually go there with that? Because this is not a conversation you can win.
You just
okay.
You just yeah, but your willingness to use one on Paris has nothing to do with the Muslims. That's a target of opportunities.
And I would actually like to change. I don't want to use a nuke. I want to use. What was the one that leaves everything standing, just kills all the people?
That's still a nuke. That's a neutron bomb, but it's still a nuclear weapon.
Yeah. Okay. I'd like to use a neutron bomb on Paris. Just in, people sit there and say, "Oh, you don't want to damage this. You don't want to damage that." No. All right. I'm okay. We don't damage anything. We just kill all the people.
Oh, okay. Let me explain something for people who don't know. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I was just going to say, and my second one, because you did give me 2, this one's going to confuse a lot of people. Okay? Mecca.
Like I said, the M was one of them.
Yeah, Mecca. You need, I'm not joking, okay? You turn around to all of the Muslims and you go, 2 choices. Sort them out, or you lose Mecca. You wouldn't dare. That was your mistake.
Well, you don't have to take Mecca. You could take Medina and say, "No, Mecca's next." I mean, that's.
Well, I can never remember which one's is like the one that they.
The big one is Mecca. Medina is the.
Oh yeah, there you go.
is the second one.
Okay.
So, but it's from the Islamic perspective. I'm not
Yeah.
at the point where I would do that per se. Okay, but
Yet.
the major cities, there are going to be major cities that have to be eradicated. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not. It's I know people are like, well, no, you don't have to. You don't have to. They're not going to give you a choice.
No.
All right, that's what people don't understand. It's not by choice. Now
Yeah. Oh, and
we didn't nuke Tokyo, okay,
no.
but we still had to drop. We still ended up dropping 2 nuclear weapons on Japan,
Yes.
okay. So now the second one was the second dropping of the nuke was kind of how do I say this? They their primary target was covered, so Nagasaki was the
Yeah.
secondary target.
Yes.
Technically, they were supposed to not drop the nuke if they couldn't see the target zone that they were going to go after.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of debate as to whether or not with the cloud cover they could have seen that target zone or not. Ground, but the other aspect of it was they had used so much fuel, they were in danger of not making it back.
Yeah.
Okay, so does it? If I was in that situation, would I have said drop the bomb? Probably. If I was in
Yes.
that same situation, all right, because I'm trying to make it back home, and it's still the target, okay. And with a nuke, close is close enough, right?
Horseshoes and hand grenades.
Right.
By the way, just so you know, if I'm banned from hitting Paris, I'm happy to target Bradford.
Okay. Like I said, it's.
Just saying.
I'm just pointing out that with the Islamic world, with the Islamic mentality, it's going to require us to use a nuke. So
Yeah.
it's going to require someone to use a nuke. That's
Mm-hmm.
not a joke. I don't like
No.
the idea, all right, but it's going to have to happen because they're not going to leave you any other choice. They're
Mm-hmm.
not,
No. I agree.
right? And what's more is I'm not guaranteeing that the nuke will be used first. Okay, I'm saying what I mean by that is it's very possible that they use a nuke first, and it's a
Yeah.
retaliatory strike. Okay, but the people have to understand that's what it's going to take for them to do this. Okay,
Yes.
because they don't believe in there's any accountability for themselves. All
Mm-hmm.
right,
Agree.
but back to the original story. We got so far off subject here. Yes, Trump was wrong for saying that. Okay, now was it as bad as he was saying anything about the war dead? No, he never mentioned the war dead.
No.
Okay, that's all being brought up, and it shows you how they're trying to exploit the system.
Agree.
Okay. Let's get on to a different story then. Now, Jensen, did you
Mm-hmm.
get that out of your system? Are you happy with the way the discussion went?
I'm okay. I feel that everything I needed to say was said. And
Okay.
by the way, if you felt the urge to put one of the M's on your list for a nuke, I'm okay with Minnesota. I really am.
Minneapolis.
No, I know what I said. I used the exact correct words.
You don't realize how.
Okay?
Okay.
That's Minnesota's problem,
Yeah.
not mine.
Let me explain this to you.
Hmm.
Minnesota,
Yes.
okay, is not a small state.
No
All
shit.
right. I'm just letting you
Hmm.
know that Minnesota is is a good bit bigger than all the British Isles. All right.
By a factor, I would hope.
Okay.
Yes.
It's got its own issues, but it's a good sized state. All right. Florida, Texas, and California lead Americans' housing crash as other Sunbelt states start to crack as values plunge 7.6%. Oh, the horror. 7.6%.
Mm-hmm.
Florida, Texas, and California are now firmly at the center of America's housing crash, accounting for 12 to 14 major metro areas where home prices are falling. The sharpest drop was recorded in Dallas, Texas, where the median sales price slid 7.6% from a year earlier. Florida's once red-hot housing market is also cracking, with prices falling in Miami, Jacksonville, Orlando, and Fort Lauderdale. California has 4 declining metros as well, including Oakland. Why anybody would want to live in Oakland, I don't know. The
I
section
knew that was coming.
San Jose, Sacramento, and Los Angeles. Okay, you think I'm joking about Oakland? All right, Oakland is horrific. The
Oh, I
people in
believe that.
Oakland believe it's horrific.
Wow.
Hasn't changed their voting preferences, but Oakland is a shithole.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and it's right across the bay and right south of Berkeley. The Berkeley area has all this money, right? San Francisco has all this money. Oakland is like a crack den. The entire city. And I'm not
Yeah.
joking.
Yeah.
Everything when you drive out of Oakland and get like into Berkeley, it's like, how did everything get cleaned up? I'm
Yeah.
just telling you what I drove through. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The slowdown is no longer fully contained. Prices are now slipping in Atlanta, Georgia, and Denver, Colorado. All right. Gee, 2 more leftist loon areas. All right. 2 more Sunbelt markets that had held up longer than the other 3, but are now seeing prices slump. That's because every area that you was just pointed out is hyper leftist, with the exception, to prove the rule, of Jacksonville.
Okay.
Okay, and I mean hyper leftist. Okay, I'm not talking purple. I am talking so blue, all right, it can't breathe because it doesn't have oxygen. All right?
Okay.
People don't, I don't know where people think that Miami was ever a conservative city. It was basically owned by the Dems. In fact,
Hmm.
Miami, Fort Lauderdale, right, owned wholesale by the Dems. Miami-Dade County was the bluest county for the longest time in that state. Oh, but what about Little Havana? Well, Little Havana had given up the ghost a long time ago as far as being quote-unquote conservative. Right? They're anti-Castro. Okay, I'll give
Yeah.
them, but as far as they were voting for freaking stupid Democrats left and right. Fort Lauderdale, Orlando, they were so blue it was unbelievable. And basically, Orlando, you have to figure, okay? Orlando is
Mm-hmm.
just basically a subsidiary of Disney. All right?
Fair.
All right? And what wasn't bought by Disney was bought by Universal Studios. So it's Hollywood East, right?
Yeah.
That's Orlando, right? If you've watched anything about Atlanta in the last few years, you should have figured out how bad Fulton County was, which is Atlanta.
Okay.
All right. Dallas, Texas is also a place that's hyper blue. Yeah, it's in Texas, but it's hyper blue. Denver's not only hyper blue, it's in a cloud of freaking marijuana. Okay, I'm just pointing these things out.
Yeah.
Colorado may be purple, Denver's not. Oh, we got to ban guns. Look at Aurora, which was down in the south part. Oh, Dylan Klebold and all them. Oh, we got to fix this. And they didn't fix shit. Because leftists like them and Democrats never fix shit. They only make things worse.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's housing is becoming more available in those areas. And they're all being filled up by illegal aliens. Just pointing this out. With the exception of Dallas. All right, I'm just pointing this out. As
Yeah.
far as the housing crash, look, the housing market has a long ways to go to truly crash in this country. 7.6, I'm not saying is insignificant, but to be honest, that's more of a correction than a crash. Okay,
Fair point.
I mean a crash is 50%. You lose 50% of your value, then come cry to me. Go talk to the people who went through the freaking, the Dust Bowl and the Depression in America in the 30s, and see what their view is. If you can find any more of them left alive, there's not very many of them left. All right,
Yeah.
but that time frame was a real crash. People lost 50% of the value of their houses.
Yeah.
Banks were at a point where they were crashing because they would foreclose on a property, right? Because the person who had purchased the mortgage could no longer pay, so they went in there and seized the property, tried to sell the property, and couldn't even sell it for 20% of the value that it was originally mortgaged for. People don't understand the banking crash and stuff that happened during the Great Depression. That was one of the main reasons. Was because the housing prices and property prices had crashed along with it.
Okay.
Not that you guys would know about that, because you and Britain were more or less insulated from it. I think you had a recession, a slight recession during that time frame.
That unfortunately is true. But before you go on to this next one, I'm just inquiring:
Mhm.
is there any way any of your stories involves the illegal migrants being moved into one of the bases over here? I'm going to guess not.
I haven't seen that one. So what base is it trying to be
Oh,
moved to?
okay. I think it's called something like Crowfield or something.
Put
The,
it put it put it in the
here's the,
thing. Put it in the thing, and I'll pull it over.
okay. You carry on. I'll find you the info.
Find me the story, and then we will go
Yeah.
on from there.
Oh, happy.
Happy, joy.
Oh,
All
yeah.
right, massive winter storm with damaging ice in the south, heavy snow from Texas to the northeast to affect over 230 million people. Airlines are already literally canceling flights ahead of this storm. Right, uh, New York is supposed to get over around a foot of snow in New York City. Widespread heavy snow and damaging ice storm are on the table from the south to the Midwest to the Northeast, including a potential nor'easter. Here's the latest forecast. A major widespread, long-lasting winter storm will hammer parts of the South, the Midwest, and Northeast Friday through Monday, with potentially damaging ice, heavy snow for millions from New Mexico. Notice it skirted Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas to parts of New England. We are getting remnants of it right now, by the way. All right. For the latest on this, check out our most recent forecast here. Right, and I could of course play this and so forth from the Weather Channel. This is the Weather Channel's report. Look, it's winter. It was going
Yeah.
to happen. Oh, a major snowstorm in winter. Really?
Don't know what you're talking
I
about.
mean,
Never happened before.
I
Hmm.
mean, now don't get me wrong. These storms are dangerous when it comes with sleet and ice. Okay, they are dangerous. Sunday,
Yeah.
Monday, it says is Mr. Barkley for New York and so forth. All right, it is.
Hmm.
It, luckily in Arizona, we're getting the wet. We're not getting the cold. And what I mean by that isn't my version of cold, because my version of cold is if it's below 60, you're already too cold. Okay, all right. So we are getting that much cold, right? But it's not getting to the where it's around 28, 29 degrees for the entire day. Okay,
Yeah.
we've skipped that at least. It appears that we're going to miss that. But that's not true of the areas in Texas and through other areas of the South. And instead of snow, if they get sleet, that is horrifically dangerous. Okay? Because it just coats everything in a layer of ice.
Hmm?
And for those who have never driven on black ice, let me tell you, the stories that you hear about it, okay, are not exaggerations. You will go from having no problems to, oh my God, I'm literally just sliding. And there's nothing you can do about it. You can't turn, you can't brake, you can't do shit. And
Well, no, hold up. That's not fair. You can step on the brake as much as you like. It makes no difference. But you can step on the brake?
well, yeah, okay, I agree with that, but that is my point, Jensen.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, I'm trying to point out the aspect of this that's out there. So it can be it gets interesting very quickly, very
Mm-hmm.
very very quickly. All right, and you won't know it, until it's too late. You're driving along, thinking it's just like you're driving on a wet coat, a wet rained street, and all of a sudden it's not wet anymore. It's ice, and see you can't tell the difference between it being wet or ice until you're already there. And if you're doing 35, 45, 55 miles an hour, and then all of a
Gets
sudden you're trying to
exciting.
say, okay, I'm doing 55 miles an hour, and here comes this gentle turn, and you turn the wheel, and the car doesn't turn with it.
Life gets
Oh,
real fun.
okay. It's like, oh, gee, I guess I'm not making this turn, am I?
Unfortunately, yes.
And you gotta hope for the best, and your best is, I hope I hit the ditch and nobody else. Okay.
It's when you do that and you're halfway up a mountain that life gets really, really exciting and short.
Well, yes, that's another thing that can happen as well. All right.
Turn. Please turn. Oh, bugger.
There are
Whee!
the areas of northeast Nebraska are it's it has rolling hills, okay,
Yeah.
but and for the most part you would think of them as gently rolling, but there's areas that are steeper than other areas, and there's this one area as you come when I was on the farm, if we came down to the little what you would call a hamlet of Wisner, right, where you had
Hmm.
to go down about a 20-degree roadway down,
Okay.
and when it sleeted and you hit that roadway, there was no stopping. Okay, there
No.
was no stopping on. It doesn't matter how fast you were going. All right, it doesn't matter if you had the brake and the wheels aren't turning at all. All right, because you're sliding down whether you like it or not. People don't realize a 20-degree incline may not sound like much, but that is a steep incline.
Yes.
And oh boy, it got for the kids, that's the great sledding area, right? Because you can pick up some
Hmm.
hellacious speed. But for a car, it's a bit dangerous, right? And so,
Technically, it's still a good sledding area for the car, just uncontrolled at that moment.
well, it's not a good sledding area for the kids if the car is sliding over the top of them, Jensen.
I was just thinking it might help, slow the car down. Okay, I'll be quiet.
All right, let's take a look at your story here. First asylum
Oh,
seekers
yeah.
moved into former army camp.
Yeah.
Jensen, is that really a
Can I
former army
start?
camp?
Oh, my dude, that is not the problem.
Well, no,
The
no, no.
problem is,
I got a question about this, right?
yes,
Okay, so I see that
and
fence
yes, it
line.
is. Yes,
All right, I see the barbed wire at the top, which all of our areas had, but
yes,
all of our stuff was like, had a curve to the thing, to it, right?
yes.
It wasn't straight. Why is
Hmm.
this straight?
Got to look good, hasn't it? Dude, do you think that's the problem?
No,
The
no,
problem
I
is,
was just curious about that. Anyway, go on.
yeah, the problem is, you see, is that these people were moved in after, literally the very next day after the government agreed not to actually move immigrants in, and they was going to hold a referendum to make sure everything was okay. And then the government went, screw this, we're moving them in the night when no one's around and can see it happening.
27 men seeking asylum have arrived at Crowborough Training Center. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, that's about right.
Okay.
I'll go with Crowborough.
Bruh.
Put it
Okay.
with an, yeah.
All right. Which will eventually be scaled up to house more than 500 immigrants.
Hmm.
Well, can't you put like 500 immigrants in just one of those lodges that we're looking at? Am I
I'm
missing
okay with
Am
that.
I missing something?
No, but you can't do that. They need to have at least one of those buildings each. Otherwise, it's not fair to them.
Oh my gosh.
How else are they going to get their family in there?
The government said the move was part of its mission to end the use of expensive hotels.
Mm-hmm.
Now Jensen,
No,
you
no,
went
just
you went to go play in the sandbox, okay?
yeah, just before you do, please make sure you read the name of our Home Secretary and wonder why it is, and just
Shabana
go from there.
Mahmood.
Thank you.
Shabana saying it's just the start.
Yeah.
The start of what? A deportation exercise? I mean,
No.
that would be a start.
No. Apparently, they're moving them all into the bases. Oh, and this part, this one, you know how you like to say this frosts me. Be prepared to be frosty.
I will bring
All of the
forward
military.
site after site until every asylum hotel is closed and returned to local communities.
Hmm.
Why would you bring forward site after site? Why don't you just bring forward deportation flight after deportation flight?
Dude, they moved and I know this is the chair force. I know, and we all know that Zoomies are basically useless. But they actually kicked our military out to put these people in.
Okay,
Yeah, you heard me.
maybe this is just me. All right, when you went to go play in the sandbox,
Yeah.
okay, what was over your head? Was it wood? Was it cement? Or was it canvas?
But
Okay, just pointing this out. Okay,
oh, 100%. Okay, you
I
get
mean
no disagreement from me.
we had tents. All right, most everything
Yeah,
was a tent. If it's good enough for us and it's good enough for them because they want to get back to nature, why are you
yeah,
putting them under freaking this kind of stuff?
yeah.
All right, does the okay? Does the word concentration camp mean anything? Not concentration camp is in Nazi Germany, but a
Please remember,
concentration camp.
the British created a concentration camp. You'd think we'd have a rough idea, wouldn't
I mean, look, you concentrate them there. You go
you?
through the process of saying, okay, you're not bothering the rest of the community or anything else. You're stuck right there. All right, and when we decide that you no longer are authorized asylum, we can deport your ass.
I'm okay with this.
Personally, if I was in charge of this, you guys have a decent subway system, right? I
Yes.
mean, wouldn't you like a subway system from, I don't know, Liverpool all the way down into London?
We kind of tried to build something similar with the HS2, but yes.
All right.
Oh,
I mean, you got plenty of labor.
yeah.
I don't want to call it free, but it's free labor.
But that's slavery. We can't
No, it's
do
free
that.
labor. It's free labor, right? What else are they going to do?
Yeah,
All right.
I know.
It's better than sitting these idiots in the NHS where you guys, hello, I have a degree. Trust me. It's for some Pakistani you. Why does it look like it's a crayon? Don't worry about the crayon. It's just the way we express ourselves.
Yes. Yeah. Look, did you notice things? Don't you know that over here, noticing is now criminal and racist?
I'm
By the
just,
way, I'm not actually joking. That actually is
and I'm
a
not trying to
complaint.
discourage or disparage any of the what people have for the medical profession, but Jensen, our
Hmm.
military doctors were not
Mm-hmm.
as up to speed as our civilian doctors, and they were still far and away better than some of these immigration doctors. Let's be honest.
They were better than most of the NHS doctors. What the heck are you talking about?
Look, we don't have an NHS here. We have something
I
else.
yeah, I know. You guys. I
We
mean, I could sit here and make all the jokes about you're not civilized enough to have it, but honestly, with how bad it's got over here, I completely understand.
Well, if we had a free healthcare system, and what I mean by free healthcare is not inexpensive healthcare. What I mean is
Yeah.
free as in free market.
Yes.
It would be one thing, but we don't, and that's an
No.
issue in and of itself. And I'm not going to go into it here, but I've tried
Yeah.
to explain it to some people.
Yeah.
Now listen, NASA is about to send people to the moon in a spacecraft not everyone thinks is safe to fly. What spacecraft is safe to fly?
Oh no, I've worked it out. This is how they're dealing with the people up north in Mississippi. Sorry, in Missouri. No, what's it called? Minneapolis. That's the part. Eh? That's what they're doing. They're going to load them on there and bung up onto the moon.
When four astronauts begin a historic trip around the moon as soon as February 6th, they'll climb aboard NASA's 16.5-foot wide Orion spacecraft with an understanding that it has a known flaw, one that some experts urging the space agency not to fly the mission with humans on board. But NASA remains confident it can handle the problem and the vehicle can bring the crew home safely.
Challenger. Cough, cough, cough.
I'm just pointing out that's I'm not bashing NASA in this regard, okay? But for them to be overly sensitive to, oh my God, there's a flaw in the spacecraft. All spacecrafts have flaws,
Yes.
okay? They all have problems. Now, we haven't lost any people as far as the United States is concerned. We have not lost any people in space. There's a caveat. It's called yet.
Thank
So
you.
you can look at it. You can look at it this as an opportunity. Okay.
I love the fact you think they're going to make it to space. That's so adorable.
Although getting to space is never an issue. It's getting back has always been somewhat of an extreme problem.
Again, see my point. Challenger.
The issues relates to the special coding applied. They didn't make it to space.
Parts of them.
No, they didn't make it all that high.
That's my point. That you can't you. Let's be honest. You didn't even manage to get that far
But
off the ground.
okay. Let's talk about Challenger for a moment for people who don't know. Okay.
Yeah, and I wasn't around for this, so I'm just using what I've seen. Okay.
When you see that explosion, all right,
Yeah.
it's dramatic.
Pretty.
Okay,
Yes.
and it's big,
Yes.
and the capsule portion of the space shuttle
Hmm.
survived intact.
Did it now?
Yes,
Okay.
until it hit
That's
the water.
impressive. Ah.
Okay, all the astronauts were found strapped into their seats.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they brought that part of the capsule up at night because they didn't want people to know that they had died by most of them had died by drowning.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah.
They were unconscious, but they had died by
Yeah.
drowning. It's it it shows you two of the best and worst things about NASA. You know, the best part in the when they talk about safety, their version of safety is far and beyond what you and I would accept from being in the military. Okay, let's be honest.
I'm sorry. Safety in the military. Hello.
No, I'm just if we were transporting stuff, let me tell you
Yeah.
right now, it would give safety officials heart attacks to know how we did certain let's be perfectly frank here.
Yes.
Okay, because when you have to get something done, and you have to get it done, not okay, let's take our time and think of the consequence. When you have to throw all that out the window, all right,
Mm-hmm.
shit gets done. Okay, is it
Yes.
safe? Well, relatively, as long as nobody got hurt, you consider it safe.
Yes.
Okay, and considering what they tried to do, which I'll be honest with you, I still think that some of the safety things that the military does is still beyond what it needs to. All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. But at least I have an understanding of it, that they're at least looking out for it, right?
Yes.
NASA goes to the point of their version of safety isn't that there's no flaws, it's that everything is there, and even if this happens, we can fix it with this and this and this. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
They are never in doubt, all right, that that they're completely, when they launch somebody, they understand the inherent nature of something they hadn't thought of going boom. Okay, because but it's because something no one had thought of. Okay,
Yes. Yes.
so in this case, I'm sure the capsule's perfectly fine. Now, if that heat shield has other flaws in it, then they're not gonna die in space per se. They're gonna die on the way in back into the atmosphere. All right, where they're getting roasted. Okay, I'm just pointing that out.
Yes.
So, am I going to be concerned about this? Probably, but at the same time, that's because I like our space program and I would like to see it always succeed. I like all
Yeah.
space programs and I want to see them all succeed. I don't even want the Russians to blow up. All right.
All the
Uh,
time. Come on. Add the last part.
no, I don't want them to blow up. Okay.
Okay.
Um,
I'll accept it.
that's not to say that. I mean, because the Russians will try something, and it's absolutely impressive the things they try to do, and how the people talk about Russian engineering as if it's shit. Russian engineering is not shit. They got great engineers. Okay.
Yeah.
They have a different set of priorities and workarounds. Okay.
Okay.
For example, the they had a concern back in the 60s of the B-70 Viggen program. Okay. For
Okay.
people who don't know, the B-70 was a program where we were going to put a high altitude, high speed bomber in the air, all right, to carry
Yeah.
new strategic weaponry. Okay, the thing was huge, and it's a unique looking bird. None of them survived prototypes. Okay,
Hmm.
now it's not the prototypes weren't the ones that always failed. For example, one of the prototypes was taken out because one of the chase planes, all right, got too close to the wing, clipped it, and actually took out the stabilizer ailerons in the tail. Right?
Oops.
Well, yeah. I don't know if that's called an oops or a what the hell were you thinking? Okay. But this thing was supposed to fly around 75,000 to 80,000 feet in the air at Mach 3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And yes, it had canards. All right. For people, so for people who think that America don't understand canards, no, we've used canards on things before. All right.
Yeah.
What people started to realize was, no matter how high you fly, there's always going to be something getting up there to take care. So the program was canceled.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But the Russians, being Russians, right, were like, okay, we still have to, just in case the Americans build this, we're going to have some counter to it. Right? So
Yeah.
they built the MiG 25 to counter this
Mm-hmm.
threat. Okay. Now, when the MiG 25 was first shown, people were like, oh my God, it's like the next generation fighter that can kick everybody's ass. It
Mm-hmm.
was huge. It had huge engines. it could do Mach 3, right? Everyone else was like, holy crap. Okay, and
Yeah.
the Americans were very concerned about this. We Americans were very concerned about it. NATO as a whole was very concerned about it. It's called the Foxbat, right?
Yeah.
Until in 1976, I believe, a Russian pilot named Viktor Belenko defected.
Yeah.
Now, he defected by flying his MiG-25 and landing on the first runway he could find in Japan. Okay?
Good choice. Yeah.
And, of course, the runway he chose couldn't stop him in time, so he actually overran the runway, right? And then he got out, and there were a bunch of Japanese that were driving on the, there was a highway overlooking this thing. So a bunch of Japanese stopped their cars, got out, and started taking pictures.
Okay, are you suggesting that the Japanese took pictures? I mean, I am shocked. That has never been shown before.
I mean,
Mhm.
they were all taking pictures until Victor Belenko fired a couple of rounds from his pistol right in the air. At which point the
Yeah.
Japanese, being Japanese, were like, "Okay, we stopped taking pictures," and they took the film out of their camera and they dropped it on the ground. And they got back in their cars and left. See, Americans would do that too. I mean, we would take pictures, right? But when the guys fired, they go, "Oh shit!" They would be thinking about, "Oh no, we got to do the polite thing and take the film out."
No, they'd pull a gun and shoot him back.
Well,
Let's be honest.
that is also an option. All right.
just saying.
All right.
He has gun, I have gun. Boom.
I mean, it was, but anyway, and so the Americans now had one that they could look at, and one of the first things they discovered was the Russians had used rivets in certain areas, right? And they're like, why are they using rivets in this area? And then they realized because where the rivets are don't matter to the laminar flow of the wing. And they're like, wow, that's ingenious. Now, the other reason Americans were like rivets was because titanium airframes, you can't rivet titanium airframes, all right? So they're like, well, wait a minute here. What is this? And the guy pulled out a magnet and went, thunk. The damn thing is made out of steel. And they're like, they thought it would be made out of titanium, right? Like that's what Americans would make stuff out of, right? You want a high performance fighter jet? Make it out of titanium. It's light. It's strong.
Yeah.
The Russians were like, well, yeah, but we don't have the technology, the economic technology to consistently make high performance aircraft wings like this. Okay, because working with titanium is very difficult for people who don't know this. Titanium is very hard. So when you're dealing with tooling, all right, you're like high speed tooling against using it against that. Titanium is very, it doesn't react. It's very hard to actually, turn it. It's very actually how to, shave it off, right? And the other problem, with it is when you utilize those things, what happens? What's the result? It's heat, right?
Yeah.
Now titanium will not bother itself for heat, all right, until it gets way up there.
Yes.
But when it gets way up there, it burns like thermite. Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay, didn't know. Okay.
Yeah. So what can't you do with it? You can't weld it either.
Well, you can if you want a really, really fun experience.
Well, if whatever you're trying to weld is going to be slag when you're finished, because it's going to start melting, and then it's going to react on its own, and you can turn the arc off, and it's still going to blow right on through.
Like I say, a fun experience.
All right. So we actually weld, believe it or not, titanium because we encase the entire welding process in argon. Okay. So that's how we utilize it. But if you don't have all the different procedures and economically available to you to do that kind of processing, to do that kind of specialized tooling and everything, right? The Russians didn't have that back in the 60s, right? But the MiG-25 did what it was supposed to do: fly really high, really fast to shoot down as an interceptor. That's what it was created for. Okay,
Yeah.
It's like I said, their engineering is impressive.
Wasn't
Their
that the one that
their
they
equipment.
created with the?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, go on. Oh, okay. Wasn't that the one they created to knock out the SR-71?
Well, yeah, they also decided to try and hit SR-71s with it too, but
Okay, just you know,
that
one
never
of those things in my
that
brain just went ink.
yeah, that never worked out for them.
Funnily enough.
Well, they asked Victor Belenko in the book, which is, if you ever want to read his book, it was MiG-25 pilot,
Okay.
and he wrote an autobiography about his experiences, and he explains everything in Russia, why he left, and everything else, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he got asked by them, can you shoot down a an SR-71? And he said no. And they said, well, why not? And he goes, well, first of all, the MiG-25, the SR-71s, if they see us coming, right,
Mm-hmm.
and then they just fly higher,
Yeah.
right? And he goes, the other thing is they will literally see us coming, all right. Let us go ahead and get behind them for a targeting solution as they slowly throttle up and leave us and our missiles behind. Now you can
Fair.
imagine how discouraging that has to be to get behind somebody, fire a missile, knowing it'll never hit the target because the target is already moving away so fast that by the time it even gets up to the velocity it needs, the missile is already out of fuel. Okay.
That's humiliating.
All right. So people don't. The SR-71 was initially created with a dual threat in mind. All right. That was the YF-12 was the project name, right, prior to its deployment. And yes, you have something like that. Well, what do Americans want to put on it? Guns, right?
Don't know what you're talking about.
Well, the
Mm-hmm.
problem with guns is when you fired the rounds were not fast enough, and they ended up hitting hitting the bird itself.
Says a lot,
All
really
right,
does.
that when you're flying that
Mm-hmm.
fast, that the bullets can't keep up. So they're like, well, we could always use missiles, and then somebody said, why? At that
Yeah.
point, it's why, okay, and so it became an aerial platform. All right, now people don't know the military controlled the SR-71 program as a whole, okay, but it did not control certain things within the program. There was a drone that would literally piggyback on the top of the SR-71 called the D-21. All right. Nobody knows what that D-21 was actually doing. Well, I shouldn't say nobody knows.
Yeah.
They still haven't released what the D-21 was doing because that operation was run by the CIA.
Hmm.
All right. That's all we know about it.
Yeah.
That I'm going to talk about
Wait, I waited for that last part, I gotta say.
Okay, on to the next story. Police arrest protesters at airport as Minneapolis, Minnesota gears up for anti-immigration enforcement protest. Police arrested anti-immigration enforcement demonstrators at the Minnesota's largest airport Friday after they overstepped their permit, officials said, as mass mobilization to protest the Trump administration's crackdown began across Minnesota despite Arctic temperatures seizing the state. Now stop right there. Despite Arctic temperatures seizing the state. If I'm an ice group, right? You know what I'm looking
Oh.
to do? I am looking into, can I get a hold of a few fire trucks? Because we're going to make this really fun. Okay?
That's dirty. I like it.
A network of labor unions, progressive organizations, and clergy had urged Minnesotans to stay away from work, school, and even shops Friday to protest the immigration enforcement surge in Minneapolis and St. Paul. Roughly 100 clergy were arrested, according to Trevor Coughlin of Faith in Minnesota, one of the groups protesting or organizing the protest at the Minneapolis St. Paul International Airport. They are protesting the involvement of Delta Airlines in the deportation of immigrants. All right. If I've got a fire truck, I'm not even using it to blow down protesters. I'm just having it on wide spray.
Oh yeah.
Okay? And I'm going to cover them from head to toe with frigid water. Okay? I'm just letting you know. I'm going to end this protest right now.
I love it, and I totally support this.
All right, I'm going to be warning people this protest is illegal. You need to shut it down. Oh, what are you going to do? Well, I'm just going to use the squirt gun and take care of the situation. All right,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just pointing this out. This is an opportunity. This you you got to admit that this is an opportunity. At least it's
Yes.
nice weather for them. Yes. Look at them glisten in the sunlight.
Hey, they won't be able to complain about ice anymore. After all, they become popsicles instantly.
Just pointing this out. But that's just me. That's just me. Japan's Prime Minister Takahashi dissolves the lower house for February 8th election to seek a mandate. Okay? Now, we've been talking about this for a while now. Prime Minister Sane Takahashi dissolved Japan's House of Representatives on Friday for a snap general election on February 8th. All right? Seeking a public mandate to push through her economic and security policy agenda with her new coalition partner. The dissolution of the lower house at the onset of the ordinary parliamentary season effectively kicked off a short campaign period for the election, with the ruling and opposition camps both floating the idea of abandoning the consumption tax on food to ease the burden on inflation hit households. Takahashi's ruling bloc is aiming to secure a majority in the powerful lower house, but fears are growing that many votes from supporters of her former coalition partner, backed by a major religious groups, will flow to the newly created main opposition party. Okay,
Hmm.
now there's two things of note here. They're dissolving their diet. That's what they call it. The diet, the lower house of the diet. All right.
Okay.
Today, it's the 23rd.
Hmm.
And you're going to hold an election on the 8th?
Kind of tells you that the rest of us really don't have any of this sort of shit worked out
I'm
than
like,
we do.
I'm just trying to point out. I mean, I wish we can't even count the votes in the time period that they're going to have an entire election in. That's sad.
It's impressive.
All right. Secondly, when both sides are agreeing to end the consumption tax, that's already a given. Okay. The problem is that they have with inflation and so forth is in the food stuff. And the reason they're having a problem with inflation in food stuff was, quite frankly, because the cost of rice in the
Mm-hmm.
country skyrocketed due to the fact that they had a couple of really bad crops, right?
Yeah.
And they are reticent, very reticent to purchase rice, right, from the United States.
Okay.
Okay. Now we are the world's second largest rice exporting country in the world.
Weirdly,
exporting.
I thought you guys were the most.
We might be we're close, all right, because it's just
Yeah.
that people don't like our rice, all right, because we tend to clean it,
Mm.
okay, and when you clean it and you wash it, it loses some of the elasticity, all right, from the gluten and so forth, right?
Yeah.
And one thing that the Japanese dearly love is they love sticky rice.
Oh yes.
Okay, so Americans, on the other hand, there are Americans like me that also love sticky rice, but the vast majority of
Mhm.
Americans do not like sticky rice for some reason. I think they're insane. Okay, but they
Fair.
are very picky about rice. I'm just letting us. Our food is kind of crappy. It's not really. It, when it comes to our actual rice, our rice isn't crappy in comparison to theirs. In fact, but at the same time, they they are like a lot of countries. They try to protect their homegrown systems, right? And to the detriment of the United States. So just putting it out there. Now,
Mhm.
the, it has somewhat stabilized the rice and so forth in the area, but they're
Yeah.
still, and they have, believe it or not, they have agreed to take in more of our rice imports. That's one of the deals that Trump actually made. Okay, was
Mhm.
they were willing to lower some of the tariffs they had barring U.S. foodstuffs into Japan.
Yeah.
On to the next big
Mm.
story for the Europeans.
Yeah. Sure. Hmm.
Danish PM visits Greenland, vows support in difficult time. What difficult time? Can somebody tell me why the people of Greenland are having a difficult time?
Well, obviously the people in Greenland just don't understand how much Trump is the bad orange man. Okay.
Are you telling me that they're worried about him painting everything orange? Danish
Yes.
Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen on Friday delivered a brief statement to the media during her visit to Nuuk, the capital of Greenland, stressing solidarity and a shared political future with the Danish realm. I am first and foremost in Greenland today to show our strong Danish support for the Greenlandic people,
Whatever.
Frederiksen said, adding that it had been a very, very difficult time. Really. She underscores the importance of close cooperation with the Greenlandic Prime Minister Jensen Frederik Nielsen, all right, describing their joint efforts as crucial preparations for the kingdom's next steps. Now we will prepare to take the diplomatic and political path. Is it just me, or is this just a, a cornucopia of word salad that means nothing?
That's exactly what it is. This is literally performance art.
I mean,
They're
it's
trying to make it look like, see, we're involved with Greenland. We're involved with Greenland. Seriously, give it 2 years. Half of the Danes are going to go, where's Greenland?
I mean, nothing against these guys, but first of all, the people in Greenland, there's not a whole lot of them to begin with, right?
No.
And all they care about is, hey, look, I just want to take my fishing vessel out and go get some fish. Right? Let's be
Yeah.
honest. They're not doing much else because there's not much else they can. Well, they go out there and play tag with the polar bears, but I don't think that's that's a thing that anybody wants to be really doing unless they absolutely have to. Right? I'm sorry. I just look at this and I just shake my head, going, "What? You do realize, you know, like I said, Trump was willing to pay all the people in Greenland, every single person in Greenland, right? He was willing to
Mhm.
pay them $100,000 each to vote for America to take over Greenland.
And that would cost them about £2.70. I know. There's that little people.
All right, I mean, I'm just trying to point out, no, it's a few $1 billion. I'm not going to say it's insignificant
Yeah.
to do something like that. It's like $50 or $60 billion, right? But that's not even a program in the U.S. defense budget. All right.
That is literally an accident on their calculations. You know, it's
Right?
like,
I'm
where did
just
that
trying to
money
point
go?
that
Oh, who
out.
cares?
That's like
Hmm.
what? 15 freaking F-22s for the
Ridiculous,
price
isn't
of
it?
it. I'm just saying. I'm just trying to point this out there. And trust me, if he had gone through with it correctly. See, this is the thing about Trump. Trump talks out of his mouth. And he does finally say some things that would be interesting that actually work if he hadn't already blown it by telling people what he was going to do. If you had just
Yeah.
walked into that one day and just walked in, that said a thing about Greenland for a long time, and then proposed that to the Greenland people, we're willing to give you this if you vote for this legislation, right?
Hmm. Yeah, but come on. Don't you remember? America is terrified of the Danish army. They're just so huge. They're terrified the living hell
Yeah.
out of
Now, Trump did finally say, well, we're not going to do anything militarily. We could, but we're not going to do anything. Of course, we were never going to do anything militarily. What? Okay, first of all, if we were going to do something militarily, it would take what? Uh, it wouldn't even take an army. It wouldn't even take an army corps.
Dude, you could park your Coast Guard off of the edge of it and stop anything
No,
coming
not our
in.
Coast Guard. Our Coast Guard are a bunch of wusses. Just pointing
It's the Danish.
out.
They had their time when they Vikinged, then they became pussies.
Look, I mean, it's what are we gonna do? Here's some seal meat. I mean, right? I I mean, it's not like we don't have I don't know dozens of nuclear submarines that would ply that area constantly. Just putting it out there.
I'm I'm still saying 15 guys and a bunch of rowboats, and you got that place sorted. I don't see what the
If
problem
we
is.
dropped that pallet of money that we gave to Iran on Greenland, there wouldn't be an issue here, folks. Just think about that.
No, there would not. There would not.
Former Vice President Kamala Harris is upgrading her Los Angeles real estate portfolio, trading one celebrity soaked neighborhood for another. I wouldn't use the word soaked. I would use the
No.
word infested. That's just me. All right. Harris
Well, as we're talking about LA, I think desiccated might also be an appropriate term.
Harris and her husband Doug Emhoff recently dropped a little over $8 million, 8.15 million, on a 4,000 square foot, 4 bedroom, 6 bathroom home in Point Duma, a neighborhood in Malibu. That's home to a who's who of both Hollywood and more recently Silicon Valley power players, the California Post has learned. In recent weeks, several Point Duma residents have spotted Emhoff strolling through the neighborhood, which rests on a 63-acre promontory perched above one of California's most famous and exclusive beaches known as Little Duma. All right, why am I even doing this story? Because I really don't care who she
No, I
hangs out
was
with or
wondering, but
anything. The reason is her campaign is hundreds of millions of dollars in debt,
oh
and yet
yeah,
she's purchasing mansions for $8 million.
forgot about that.
I mean,
Mm.
what did she do? Find a little envelope here? Oh, here's an envelope that says BLM on it. What the hell? Oh, look at that! Look, it's my Black Lives Matter kickback fund.
No, it's pronounced build larger mansions.
Uh,
Say it properly.
I mean, let's be perfectly frank here. All right, her campaign in which started in July. So you got July, August, September, October, November. In a 5 month span, her campaign, okay, raked in $2 billion in donations. and was hundreds of millions of dollars in debt at the end of it.
Yeah.
I don't think I could spend $2 billion that fast unless I was buying F-22s. Right? And I have no intention of buying an F-22.
He's got 4. He doesn't need a 5th one.
Right? I mean, I'm just pointing this out. Look, if I could, first of all, if I could fly, right? If I was a pilot, right? I wouldn't deny the fact that there's I would love to have one.
Funnily enough.
But there's no friggin' way the government's going to sell it to me. Let's see. Let's sell somebody who we're not really sure what he's like, and we've heard some of his ramblings, and let's give him an aircraft that not even we can really track. Sounds like a plan to you?
So what you're saying is they'll give you the F-35, but not the 22. Got you.
I'm not. just pointing this out to people. Alrighty. Oh, this is nothing. Final 2 stories of the day. Montana town perplexed by mystery of 3 bikes on a log. This is obviously artwork. Okay?
Yeah.
This is obviously somebody
up and it's buggered off.
Well, this is somebody's idea of artwork. Let's put it that way. Residents in a Montana town are at a loss to explain a years-long local mystery: the presence of 3 bicycles on a log in the Missouri River. The 3 bikes have been wedged atop a log in the Great Falls since at least the fall of 2020, and despite efforts to solve the mystery on websites including Reddit, the questions of who put them there and why remain. My question would be, why do you care?
Okay. I was wondering that part.
Right. But if you look at this, right, let's blow this up. So
in July of 2025, I moved to...
And I don't care about this guy and whether or not he moved somewhere or anything else. Let's get to these logs on the bike. Okay. Now, if you take a look at these things, you can see that they're propped up.
Yes.
Okay. Maybe we can get a better picture of these things with somebody else. All right. It is interesting that this is on a log that looks like it's stuck in there, which for me, this would be a navigation hazard. Under normal circumstances, wouldn't you normally get rid of it? Which is another reason why I believe it's probably an art project of some sort.
Makes sense.
Here's a good picture. Stop right here. Look, this isn't normal parts of bikes.
Funnily enough.
Okay, so somebody did this for a local art project. Okay.
Yeah.
Nobody has claimed responsibility for it. I'm saying that it's okay. I don't really care about it. Okay. It's not a prank, obviously. All right. Because if it was a prank, somebody would have already taken it down from 2020.
Yes.
Okay. That's obvious. Yeah, but it could be urban art installation. No shit. That's exactly what it is. The only question is which dumbass thought they were going to get famous for doing this? Like, don't get me wrong, the art community they're dumbasses anyway. All right?
Yeah.
And you can say what you want about their talent level, but when somebody goes, "Oh, look, I taped a banana to a piece of white cardboard."
Yeah, that was...
And sold it for millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Just putting it out there, right?
Fair.
So calling them dumbasses, I think, fits. All right, final story. Train service interrupted by the escaped emus. They're on the attack again. Get the Aussies out there to declare another war.
why they lost the last one. Come on.
It's time for a Rinsby challenge. It's time to
Round
challenge him
2,
again.
bitches.
Officials with England's Network Rail confirmed service was briefly interrupted in East Yorkshire. These aren't emus in Australia. It's in your neck of the woods. When an emu was spotted along the tracks, the train driver traveling from Hull to Liverpool reported spotting a large bird native to Australia by the tracks near... How the hell do you say that word?
Oxmardike? Yeah, Oxmardike.
Oh my God. All right. Level crossing in the Gilbert Dyke area. All right. All right. At 8 a.m. Thursday, the emu was located by the network rail personnel and safely removed from the area. No more. It sounds like the Aussies are poking a little bit of fun at you.
Do you know what you call an emu on a train track? A sandwich. Okay? The train goes forward, the emu goes boom, the driver leans out, scrapes it off the side, puts it between two slices of bread and sells it to somebody.
I figured he'd just hit it and it would go poof. Right? The feathers for everyone.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Right? Look! It's bedding!
That's how they keep the seats so comfortable. Now I understand.
It's stuffy for the pillow.
Real ostrich down.
Have you got your emu pillow?
Hold still. Boom. There you go.
You have a little big sucker on the side and sucks the feathers in it. You just line them up on there.
The worst part is you might be disturbingly accurate with that statement. I love it.
Oh my goodness. Emus on the loose. Now see, here in the United States, emus, there are people who have emus for some reason all over in Texas for some reason.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I really can't speak because just up the road here between Tucson and Chandler, right, on I-10, there is an ostrich farm where they have hundreds of ostriches that you can go in and buy ostrich eggs, ostrich meat, and so forth, and ostrich feathers if you so desire. They have hundreds of ostriches. Okay.
Okay.
So I really shouldn't talk, but emus are a bit different. And in Texas, they keep escaping. There's always some Texas Ranger trying to wrangle one of these things. All right? And unlike ostriches, which basically just try to run away from you, emus will turn around and go, you know what? I got claws. See, I came from Australia. I am not a bird from that dummy called Africa. We came from Australia where at one point we were the dominant predator. We used to be huge and called murder birds.
I've worked out what the plan is with these things. I actually reckon that the US government have got them in to keep the migrants out.
Just let them patrol the border.
Yeah. Cluck, cluck, motherfucker.
I'd be interested to see what the Mexicans would do with them if we could put them on the border to an area there. You got to admit that would be kind of cool.
Yep.
All right, everybody. That's all I've got for the day. All right. I hope that you enjoyed the show. But I'm finished. If you got any last words, Jensen, please.
Goodbye, everybody, and please remember, the British did lose people. We were involved. None of this crap that he's saying is accurate. You can say what you like about.
What did I say that was inaccurate?
No, I'm not disagreeing with you at all.
Oh, okay.
I want that clear. Okay, it's just Trump and his whole NATO didn't do anything. Oh, I don't care about NATO. Britain. Let's be honest. The last couple of wars America's actually got their ass up and got involved in, we were standing there right next to you.
Except for Vietnam.
That don't count, and that was a long time ago.